Hey everybody, how you doing? Hey Calypso, how you doing, man? I don't know if you can hear or not. Okay, well, hopefully everything's going okay and we're just hanging out for the next few minutes or so. What's up, Doc? This is 400 gallons with, there's 20 gallons in the sump, but it's got a capacity of, I believe, 40 gallons in the sump to allow for if the power goes out and the excess water just runs down and needs that much extra space in the sump. So all the time 420 gallons. It's 12 feet long. It's 2 feet across. And 28 inches deep. And it's got a Euro bracing on it. This one gorgonian here, I'm kind of concerned about it. It hasn't opened up for a few days now. It was open for several months and then it closed up. It's got really nice white polyps all over it when it does open. It'll be, I believe, 3 years on the 7th of this month. So 3 days from now, it'll be in service for 3 years since 2016. There's a very steep learning curve, very steep. So I couldn't afford to fill it with all kinds of corals right away. We had to fill it a little over time and frag some things and disperse them throughout the aquarium. But sorry, I missed the question. And we can give you an end view of the tank if you want, or if there's anything in particular you'd like to look at. Just see what we can do here. Thanks. It was quite a while it took me a while to figure it out. I actually laid it out on concrete, measured everything out on the pavement. I had some paving stones that were laid out a few years back for a patio, and I marked it all out in chalk, and then I realized I wanted to have at least enough room because you got to be able to walk all the way around the tank and be able to clean all the glass. So I had to have enough room to run the metal scraper around the inside of the tank, and so I took some measured and another 2 inches around the inside, so there's a minimum of 2 inches between any of the rockwork and any of the glass, which also allows for the conches to walk around without getting hung up or stuck. There is one place that I didn't make it quite wide enough, and the conch I have is growing a little bit, and he gets hung up there. I found him there twice, and so that's a thing of concern. This is just in the process of shedding, this toadstool here. I'm just going to walk around the corner, and it's just shedding its skin, as you can see. This is the view from the other end of the tank. Let's see, there's a few there. Let's see. we can go back. I was going to go around the other side of the tank. We'll see if we see them there. Hang on. So this is the overflow, and we're past that. We're back on the other side of the tank. There's some sponge growing there, some purple sponge on the back of the glass, and it was the zoas you were interested in. So I don't know what they're all named. I can cross-reference them on various websites like Canada Corals and Worldwide Corals and Fragbox and places like that. So there's some down here. I know there's a bit of bubble algae, but I guess that's just the way it is sometimes. We get a different view from the other side of the tank. I think these ones here, I think these are Sunny D's or they're Rastas. They changed colors. When I first got them, they were just yellow, and they've developed some colorful rings around them, and so I'm waiting to see if they change some more. Those ones there. With the blue. There's some green with blue centers in them there. And then red with blue centers over there. These ones? These are actually the same as these ones over here. Okay, those ones there. Those are the ones behind the Sunny D's then. And they're the same as these ones here. The only difference is the light that they get, and I honestly don't know what they're called, to be, to tell you the truth. I'd have to look them up on a website like Worldwide Corals or Tidal Gardens or, well, Canada Corals or something, and cross-reference it. So this is the back side of the tank. I'm hoping to move the tank actually about another, pardon for the quickness, about another foot away from the wall. That's going to be a task down the road, maybe in a year or so. So these were the zoas you were interested in here. And there's some really nice kind of orange ones in the back, right at the bottom. I can't really focus on them yet. So I've got little frags of all of these ones that have grown out a whole bunch. I'd even be willing to cut a piece off of the, a piece of the rock off because I'd be willing to do that. These were kind of nice. These were pretty bland when I got them first as well. And they've changed colors a little bit. And these are very slow growing. They seem to take forever to grow, those red ones with the blue dots in the center. This is actually a colony of what you were looking at there. These ones are growing pretty quick. Yeah, these grow faster than the other ones. I shouldn't say the other ones. The only ones that grow as fast as these ones are those green ones with the blue dots in the center. I just fragged frog spawn the other day. So I'll probably keep 2 of those pieces and see if I can trade the rest of them. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have a kind of an open house on the 31st of this month. So pretty much, well, anybody's, yeah, oh yeah, or trading. Selling or trading, sure. This is a pagoda that I got a while back. It's growing about, it's grown probably about 2 inches all the way around. I'm from a place called Sechelt, and it's spelled Sechelt in BC, Canada, on the west coast of Canada. Thanks very much, man. Thank you very much, Calypso. Whereabouts are you at? Connecticut. Well, I've only heard at it. I'd have heard about it. I'd have to see where on the map exactly it is. I'm sure it's much bigger than where I'm from. Okay, near Niagara Falls, over in that neck of the woods. I was back there about 3 years ago. Well, these guys, these blennies are pretty cool. I like them. I can have 2 or 3 of them in the tank. The only issue I've ever run into with them is their lifespan is only about 2 years, maybe 2.5, 3 years at most. And then they spawn, and that's it. They're done about 2 weeks after they spawn. I only seem to spawn once. There's an assessor fish. We've had this guy for quite a while. Oh, he's disappeared behind the rock there. They never cooperate when you want them to. See if I can get this set up again. Dear me. Yeah, definitely. I'd be into that. I'd definitely be into that. Yeah, for sure I'd be into that. I don't know, how to do, for sure if they'd be interested in having me on, I'd be interested in doing something like that. That sounds like it could be a lot of fun, actually. There's a cocoa worm. Unfortunately, I'm not getting a good focus on it. Had that for quite a while. They're pretty interesting. I don't know what it was. I suspect it was a fish I had that tasted it, ate both of its heads back. I thought it was done. And then it grew its heads back, so I'm pretty impressed with it. since then a particular fish has passed on and certain things have stopped getting nibbled on and are thriving a bit better, so we probably won't get that type of fish. It's a, yeah, cocoa worm, that's exactly what it is. The price on those has gone up, I think, quite a bit. And that Duncan down there, I don't know what its problem is. I moved it, maybe that's what its problem is. And it doesn't seem to be too happy. The other Duncan's quite happy, so maybe I'll move it back to where it was. They are getting up there. I hear the stuff from Indonesia, or the stuff that we can no longer get from Indonesia, the prices are going crazy high. I was actually looking at the prices of, well, frog spawns, for instance, the other day, and varying places and what they're charging for them. Anywhere from $50 for a piece that's 1.5 inches across. It doesn't even say if it's one head or multiple heads, but it's only 1.5 inches across, to well, I've ranged it anywhere from $15 a head to $50 a head. I'll go over and show the other tank, I think, for a minute, but first I've got to turn a light on it. And this one's just a 90-gallon Fowler tank. See if I can get everything to come into view here properly. It's always good, yeah, if they're a good price, that's always a nice thing to find. Seems most people around here are into freshwater. Because of Joey King? I didn't hear about that. What did he do? Oh, hey, I'm going to throw some food in the other tank here. Bear with me. Oh yeah, he's got a big fan base, yeah. I think he's worked pretty hard for that too. He's worked hard at it. I've seen a lot of his stuff. Back to the other tank here. See how we're doing in a second. So I just dumped a bunch of food in the tank. And that's what I should have done about 20 minutes ago. got a few more fish to add to the tank, but that's another quarantine away, and I'm probably going to do about 20 fish at that one quarantine. So I've got to put some cash away to afford all the pets that I want. Oh heck, a fox face at least. They all have to be reef compatible and not eat bivalves, or they've got to meet certain criteria. So I get a couple more blennies. Definitely going to get about 4 neon cleaner blennies. Yeah, a one spot rabbit fish, and I'm not sure if a painted rabbit fish or not yet. I'd really like a tile fish, or 2 tile fish, the red and white ones. Get a couple of gobies, I think, maybe a couple more firefish, but not the purple ones, just get the regular firefish. I wouldn't mind getting a sand cleaner goby, except for I'm gonna stay away from one this time. They just seem to go nuts and stir crazy. I'm not sure why exactly. I've had 2 that just wound up swimming in circles for the last few days of their existence. So it's kind of sad to see that happen. So when I quarantine, I use 2 kiddie pools, one inflatable kiddie pool inside another one. They're 120 gallons. And I do that like that in case one gets a leak. And use chloroquine. We start the fish on chloroquine and we lower the salinity down to about 10-20. And that gives the fish a bit of a break, as well as any flukes that are on it, any big adult flukes are likely to drop off. With the cleaner gobies in there as well, that's going to give them a bit of a break to wait for the quarantine period of the chloroquine to last until we can deworm them with Prazipro, which would be following a protocol based on salinity and water temperature and how many days you dose the Prazipro for, and you dose it twice to make sure you get the eggs. So we cover all the bases. The chloroquine's kind of a one and done quarantine is my understanding, and so far it's been pretty effective. When we first got the tank, it was a nightmare because I knew I should have quarantined, and I knew I should have had a quarantine tank going before. But being anxious, I dumped everything I could in the tank. And then there was an outbreak of velvet. And that was a disaster because it was like, you can't treat the fish in there or you kill all the live rock and the corals, and you can't take it all out. It was just one or the other. So by the time we're done, they've been treated for worms, internal and external, and they've been treated for Brucnella, velvet, and ick. And so far we haven't had any issues. I had the 95-gallon tank was an anemone tank for a while until I put in an anemone in that I thought was, I had quarantined it. It wasn't looking well. It was in the quarantine tank. And I thought it had passed that time period. It had been in there for 14 days. And apparently that wasn't long enough. It would have been if all it had was ick, but I guess there was something in the water. And again, there was a velvet outbreak in that tank. So that was a bit of a disaster too. Well, yeah, I will. I could. I wouldn't mind doing that. Thanks for I'll try and do that. Hey, Ktown, how are you doing, bud? We're just chilling for a few minutes, hanging out on the reef, relaxing. What are you up to, bud? Well, I gotta be honest with you, if I had a choice of making babies or making water, I'd choose one of them second every time. So far, so good. So far, it's been a pretty good day on the reef. We haven't had anything stuck in the power heads today. The cucumber is doing okay. Actually, it moved almost right back to where it was before it got sucked into the power head, but it's been there for, oh, pretty much 2 days since. Are you doing a stream tonight yourself? How much water are you making up, Ktown? I don't think I've heard of neon gobies throwing sand on things. The orange spot gobies, maybe. The sleeper gobies, but not the... I've not seen the neon gobies do that. I imagine you're using pumps to get it out of the buckets and move it around, the water around. Water change on the three. How often do you change the water, Ktown? And are you supplementing that tank? Goby's been throwing sand on top of your zoas and your pallies. That doesn't sound much like, I could only guess, I don't know. Is it only in one spot or is it all over the zoas? Maybe it's got a special spot it wants to move into. They do. I had two of those that just decided to randomly start spinning in circles for the last few days of their existence. I have no idea what caused that. There is a thing called spinning fish disease, but that's freshwater fish, and it's not even in this province that I'm aware of. What happened to it? I had a sleeper goby that did the same thing. It was yellowhead sleeper goby did the same thing. I've wondered sometimes, because there are no jumpers, because I've got a glass lid on the top is covered, if they've concussed themselves, so to speak, trying to jump out. Pardon me, Ktown is 12 feet long, it's 2 feet across, and it's 28 inches tall. It holds 400 gallons in the tank and 20 gallons of water in the sump. The sump can hold another 20 gallons or 20, it'll hold up to 45 gallons, just if any water flows from the display down, if the power goes out. Thanks very much. I'll give you a quick tour if you want. I could walk all the way around the tank. I don't know how shaky it'll be, but we could have a peek at things. It was made in at least 1986. I believe it was made for Expo. There's paperwork under the glass between the styrofoam and the glass that indicates that it was had something to do with the World Exposition in '86. So we're just going to scoop past the overflow here in a second. That air hose is just for an emergency bubbler. I've had it running in salt for, it'll be 3 years on the 7th of this month. That's a pagoda that I got. It's growing about 2 inches in diameter all the way around it since I got it, which is nice. That mushroom down there is just peeling its skin off. So it's gonna look okay. And then there's a purple sponge growing up around the overflow, and some mushrooms that have to grow up there. Thanks for the compliment. Yeah. It's the toadstool is a that's a leather. That's a purple sponge. The pagoda is SPS. It's an SPS. Well, I guess no, it's an LPS. I guess it'd be an LPS. Sorry if I said mushroom. It looks like one, I guess. So I fragged these the other day. Supposed to be somebody coming by today to look at it, but they bailed, I guess. They never phoned to say they didn't. That's a Lobo. Nephthastria, I think that's a Nephthastria. It's hard enough pronouncing it, it better be what it is. There's another frog spawn. That was one of the first ones we got in this tank. And I'm not sure of the names of all of the zoanthids. And this little guy, this whip gorgonian here, this started out as a piece maybe an inch long about 2 years ago, so I'm kind of happy with how it's done. It's give you some kind of a perspective on how it's growing. Yeah, I do. I got some. I do have some. If you're interested, if I'm ever headed up to up towards Kelowna, if I'm ever headed up towards you, I could certainly let you have a look at them and see what you're with. Yeah, it's a difference. Calypso, he's not in. Hey, Drama D, how you doing, man? So we're back around, respectively, the front side of the tank. I've got to move this about a foot away from that wall. I finally got permission to do it. Drama. For sure, Ktown, I would. I don't know how far from the airport you are. I know there's a great vineyard up there called Ancient Hills, I think is what it's called. It's exactly 1 mile east of the Kelowna airport. And I tried to go there quite a bit. I haven't been there for about 2 years now. No, that's not a sea apple. 2 minutes isn't okay. It's a sea cucumber. It's similar to a sea apple, and I've been wanting to get a sea apple. I think now that I've been able to keep that cucumber happy for as long as I have, I'm probably gonna get one of those sea apples. And then if it's just a really bland, plain looking one, I would pass. I think J&L only seems to get 1 or 2 in a year. Oh, okay, behind the airport. Oh, okay. Well, you must have heard of the vineyard up there, Ancient Hills, then. It's probably not too far. I think last time I was in Kelowna, I flew in to pick up a car. It was a 1973 Cougar XR7. That wasn't too bad. That one came out of, that one I had collector plates on it when I sold it. Cool. Well, we'll see when I can get up in that neck of the woods too. I understand income tax is coming up, and I might have a couple of dollars, and it might be might end up going for a drive up that way. I mean, it's only about if I take the Coke, it's what, about 3.5 hours, 4 hours, I guess, and not counting the ferry ride, because yeah, there's it's about 35 minutes, about a half-hour drive from here to Gibson's, and then a 40-minute ferry ride to Vancouver, and then the highway after that. Okay. Have you ever been to that Fish Addicts guy in Langley? He was bigger on the freshwater stuff, but he had a lot. He had a huge selection. I could say if you've ever got the chance, it'd probably be worth your while stopping in there. More so maybe than King Ed, except for I don't think anybody can beat the prices on King Ed Pets supplies. J&L's pretty much, that's about where I go to. I order quite a bit from them, and I have them fly their stuff out to me. They've only sent it over to Nanaimo once or twice now. Stayed overnight, finally made it to me. But I think they only ship by air on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's got a pardon me. He's got that barn out back full of different tanks. That's actually, I was out there, I picked a frag tank up there. He's got some nice ones for a good price. They're 4 feet by 2 feet by, I can't remember if they're 8 inches or 10 inches deep. I think they're 8 inches deep. It's kind of funny, I only have these Astrea starfish at, well, I shouldn't say only, but the majority are at this end of the tank, and I suspect it's because the peppermint shrimp are at the other end of the tank, and that's what feeds on them. Otherwise, they would just go crazy. Yeah. Well, there were a couple reasons for that, and one was when they ate all the starfish, part of it was the quarantine, because they'd have to go in through a quarantine until their they lost an exoskeleton, and that word a certain time period had passed, and then I'd put them in the display tank. And I've also watched the Astrea star, the population doesn't really seem to get much past a certain point. It kind of stays where it is right now, and I suspect that's because the shrimp are feeding on them. And I just got a warning that I only have a percentage of my battery left, so I probably have to call this short in a bit. Because I don't have an extension cord long enough. Yeah, they get in the cracks and the crevices, and it'd be an ongoing management issue. I have thought if they do get too out of hand, then I will get a couple of harlequin shrimp. I'd have to get them something to live on while they were in the quarantine. Something in there is eating them. Jesus. They only come out in the dark. And I honestly don't know how they got in the tank, because they weren't there until about a year ago, and they suddenly showed up. And everything had been through quarantine since then. There's a receiving tank and then a quarantine tank. Okay. I guess to a point. I think yeah, they take. I don't think they do much for the coralline algae. I think it's more just algae, and they do a reasonable job at that as well. The coralline, they eat that as well, do they? Well, I thought the urchin ate enough of that. Oh well. Really? Because there's lots of coralline growing down at the other end, and there's none down there. I'm not doubting it. Hmm. I missed that. In the bottom left, there's 1, 2, 3 anemones, and the clownfish are in one. An anemone. This is a Duncan that's not coming out for some reason. Oh, it's starting to come out a bit more. I moved him yesterday. He was right next to the other Duncan because it was over there, but they were too close together. So I thought I'd split him up. And he actually looks like he's getting happier now, so. Yeah. Get him out of the way. There's yeah, I got that started out as one head from it was a freebie we got with a bunch of stuff we ordered from Canada Corals, and that was the only thing from Canada Corals that survived to date. I have this little anemone up here that looks really sun bleached, and when I got it, it was on death's door when it went in this tank. It actually has some color now, and it's about twice as big as it was. Hey, they might be cousins. They're probably related, those two blastos. This is the second one. back around the return. And the other anemone is down there. It's a green bubble tip. I gotta get some more colorful things on this side of the aquarium. Calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. Just a sec, I'll make some room here and see if we can't have a look at that. If I can find a light. So I used to have it mixed up in old vinegar jugs. Pretty much, and a couple of Jabeo pumps. I've got some... Thanks very much, Calypso. Hang on, I'll try not to blind everybody here. So then this is the sump. I got it all insulated for heat purposes and stuff, and that's the dosing lines, and the black tube in the back is the overflow, and it comes past that styrofoam, which is just on there to help with evaporation, and it comes down that black tube past those bags of bio balls and carbon, and it goes into, I don't know if you can see that there, the roller mat. I can't believe it. I think I'm going to get 7 months out of that roller mat, which is really nice. And then it exits out through the center of the drum and comes down over here next to the skimmer. Yeah, pretty much 12 by 24 by 32. I thought it was 28, but let's just be honest about this. Sorry for the waving the camera around. And I have it at 28 inches with Euro bracing. So that's the sump. I haven't got a huge bio load because I haven't got the 90 gallon. Okay, sure. Turn the lights on in that one. Bear with me a second. There we go. So that's the 95 gallon. It's very simple. There is no magic to this. Oh, the clipboard fell down. There is no sump, there's no skimmer. There is just one power bar and a bubbler to add oxygen. I covered it up for humidity and evaporation purposes. And then it's just a simple converted, it was a hang-on back refugium, and I converted it to just a filtration system. I guess it's got kind of like, I don't know if you can see bubbles coming up in the water there or not. No. No. Too much stuff going on in there. It's very simple with an auto feeder on it. Takes care of itself. I have to feed the auto feeder up about once every month and a half. There are 5 fish in this tank. There's one angel, coral beauty angel, 3 tomato clowns, and 1 damsel. And they're all not going to show themselves, of course. It's the angel. It's unfortunately that it's such an aggressive fish because it's very, very colorful, and I really would rather have it in the other tank. It was just it killed killed a foxface and a couple other fish, so we took it out of there. It was just too aggressive, and we thought it could be with that guy right there. Yeah. So that's it. I've got less than 10% left on my cell phone, folks, so I'm probably, unfortunately, going to have to say goodnight. Honestly, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, the Coral Beauty did. It did, yeah. I don't do much for water changes, to be honest with you. I start the salinity at 10.23, and I dose to make up for any chemical deficiencies. And when the salinity gets up to 10.26, then I'll do a change. I believe it. I wish this one was. I don't know what happened. I don't know why, but it was very aggressive. If it was a real nice fish, I would love to have it in this tank. But I mean, I still like it enough to have a tank with it in it. But yeah. I think this. Well, I know this one's a Hagen tank, a manufacturer. We pretty much run it at 10.23 and dose, and then yeah, thanks for reminding me. And then when it gets up to 10.26, then I'll do about 120 gallon water change. And so far that's been about once every 8 months. Not really. It's 10.23, not too bad. I mean, could run it at 10.25, but then I go through a lot more salt too. The fish don't mind it. The corals seem to be okay with it. Yeah, I have a top off. That's hooked up to a Jabeo dosing pump, and so I know exactly how much every day I'm dosing. And that is a little over a liter. I dose. Including the chemicals. Well, yeah, the chemicals, and so it goes in. Try and get the light on there. So those are the dosing lines for the chemicals and the water auto. And as you can see, it's going now. I hope you can see that. And I dose. Well, whatever dose we. The top off is 1.5 liters of evaporation a day since I covered it. I also noticed that we were using less chemicals as soon as I covered it. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's what happened. There's a guy down the street from me has a 600 gallon tank. I use fresh water to top it off with. We have 2 buckets of water. One is salt and one is fresh. Bear with me, the lights went off, so it must be 8 o'clock. We have a saltwater container and a freshwater container, not necessarily in that order. And we top off with the fresh water, with the automatic top off. And if I'm taking water out, say for a quarantine or something, then we'll replenish it with salt water. So yeah, and then again, if I'm quarantining fish, we're doing water changes on that tank, and the water will initially come from the display tank. From pretty much dosing all the chemicals, all the salt, the phosphate, the calcium, well, the calcium and okay. Confused. We don't want confusion. From dosing the calcium, the alkalinity, and the magnesium. I guess they taste like salt. One's road salt. Epsom salt is salt. But I was wrong once before. Definitely. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Fair enough, gentlemen. Yeah, no, it makes it yeah. I'm gonna lose everybody because I don't have any battery left here, so I should probably say goodnight. I am hand mixing it. It's not, it is a 2-part, and it's, I buy it, it's food grade from a guy that owns a hot tub business. I can give you the recipes if you want. I'd have to look them up. I don't have time tonight, unfortunately. I mean, aside from the Epsom salts, and I think that we get from Costco. And then then we mix that with magnesium from I buy it in 50-pound bags. I actually found a guy in Langley that sells charcoal really cheap. You can get 250, I can't remember how many kilos now, I'd have to check, but it's less than half price of what we're paying at the local fish store. Fair deal, Drama. I hope everything goes well. And I'm probably going to have to say goodnight myself, as I don't have anything in the way of battery left. So everybody have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting me. And we'll see you all next time. We're on your streams. That's it. I'll tune in and see you guys all on your streams. See you next time. Cheers, everybody. Have a great night.